Better.
Better butter. And double masculine.
So a couple things. Oh yeah, right. Sorry. A couple things.
Parallax. Hey, relax. We're in parallax. Did you just have a quantum or a quark?
So welcome to part 2.
You mean part deux?
Part 2.
Which kind of sounds like Dios.
I see where you're going already. We ended part 1 with the eternal question.
Do you believe in theism? Which is definition?
Something akin to the belief in a creator deity, a creator entity, a creator being. Some force that does all of creation.
Welcome to God Talk with Matthew Jadev and
Alex. It's me.
aka AJ Grapes.
AJ Grapes?
Oh, excuse me. AKA OJ Grapes. Oh, look, you're being rained on. Oh no, me too.
There is a God.
Oh, I've been spited.
Oh, this is painful. Where are we, by the way?
All right, somehow we ended in purgatory. So can you take us into the higher realms through the spiral staircase?
Theism. And I'm being very general. Not hating on anyone's anything, but far from it actually. Just want to predicate before anyone gets in a tizzy. Personally, I grew up studying Tibetan Buddhism, so you're going to get that version of events. Going to predicate on that.
Is that your family's instilling or your own exploring?
It's all my own, completely my own.
So what were you indoctrinated in, if any?
Actually, nothing. That's one of the. It sound really ungrateful. One of the many great things that my parents gave me was an agnostic upbringing,
which is
more than can be said for England, which is very much Church of England, Protestant.
And can you tell our viewers the difference of agnostic versus atheist?
No.
Cannot.
I'm afraid I haven't brushed up on the distinction. It amounts to similar results. Agnostic, just almost purposefully not attaching to any specific thing. That's kind of how I render it.
Non-conclusive.
Sure, yeah.
Versus denial.
When one is at
of atheism. Perhaps.
Atheism, I think, is almost akin to its own sort of belief, if that makes any sense. It's almost like you're looking at a belief in one thing and then purposely going the other way just because. I think that's denial.
Kind of the devil advocate.
Yeah. We haven't looked it up on Google. We're not professorial types, so we don't really know these things, and I'm sure there are much more nuanced versions of understanding this.
But we can add it after the fact.
No, we
now
can't.
We are in
and
space
it shows
land.
it shows our regular Joe humanity. Anyway, theism, a belief in a creator entity. No, in a word, no. I don't believe. I don't ascribe personally to a theistic mode of being or thinking. I personally ascribe to anything is possible if you, not necessarily possible in terms of actualizing it in the material plane, but just simply anything is possible if we think it is. It doesn't always, as I said, necessarily manifest in physical reality, but I think human beings have a uniquely innate ability to make anything out of anything. We really can. We can all look at the same object and decide a different take on it. And so to ascribe to what is essentially a consensus view. Someone or a group of people come up with a story. This is why I believe that, religions as we know it in this day and age, the past, several thousand years, are some of the greatest stories ever sold. And I do mean sold with an S, not told with a T. They achieve, and we could quickly climb the ladder of, they achieve what they have been, they achieve what they set out to achieve. They achieve their goals, and in very much the same way as McDonald's and Coca-Cola achieve their goals. They are it's a very, very good business. Don't want to get sort of too sidetracked onto the whole global power control elite stuff, but I do believe it plays a part. Just to touch on it, you've got Rome, the Holy See, for the religious power. You've got London for the financial power, and you have Washington DC and America for the military might. Those three together, you own the entire planet forever and ever. It's just that simple. So when you have a story, and it's just like when a president gets assassinated, or you have a big crime, the most efficient way of sorting it out is to blame one person. There's a much bigger problem at play if it's a team of people behind a big crime.
This tends to lend to corruption.
Yeah, it's indicative of so much more. If you got one person to blame, easy. You get that person, you snuff out that person, done deal, no more issue. That's nice and clean, people like that. Whereas if you have a small team of people, it's like, now they got contacts, then they got people, who knows where the network leads. Much more messy.
The world management team.
People won't like that, yeah, people won't like that, and you can't sell the narrative of, we are doing our job, look, we've caught the guy. President, perfect example, what's his face back in the day, Kennedy, 9/11, couple guys, easy. Well, not really. As I said, I don't want to get too political, but it does have ramifications for it. So I think that it has been extremely useful to have a story, aka a religion, that propounds the notion of a single humanoid figure that does all the stuff, that does everything, creates everything. I think it's very, very useful, and in that sense achieves its aims. It gets a lot more taxing, perhaps, for the human mind and the human intellect to begin to explore the possibility of, well, what if that's not the case? And of course, even having this conversation not too long ago, several hundred years ago, would have got our heads chopped off. So we're very fortunate to be able to be in a place, in a culture, and in a space and time, whatever that swirly circle sphere thing is, to be able to talk about these things. So, many people have suffered for talking about much less. I think it's very easy, very, very easy, like sugar, consuming sugar. It's very easy to say, God did it. God made it all. Done. I'm going to get on with my whatever it is now. Than it is to say, I wonder. One requires a lot more effort. So, and lots of tangents we could go off in there, and I've probably eaten up the past 10 minutes.
All right, thank you.
So there you go. Yeah.
Question 2. So, do you believe in a sense of destiny, or do you believe more in a world of free will? Or can both exist simultaneously in a worldview?
Destiny. Destiny as defined as your life is predetermined? I don't think so. you can always argue, well, that an individual, a finite individual human being, I mean finite as in we have an X number of years, or in yogic terms an X number of breaths, before we move on to the next. Limited capacity, therefore I can't possibly know everything. So I don't know is the short answer. But while recognizing a lack of omniscient knowledge, omniscient knowing, in the absence of that, one still has to decide on one's course every day. Every minute, every hour, every day, etc., etc. So we have to act under a certain number of assumptions, and we can make the analogy of mathematical models that produce an output only based on some predetermined metrics going into your model, your set of equations that then spit out, well, this will happen given X, then Y will happen. Yeah, okay. So we have to, we wake up and we have to go to work and we have to, pet the dog and so on. And we act on a host of assumptions in order to go about doing our life. So in the absence of knowing bigger than that in all dimensions, I want to say, no, I don't think our lives are predetermined unless you have chosen for yourself, not forced upon you by the culture or the parents or the authority figure or anything, but unless you've chosen for yourself, which is based on your own due diligence, your own studying and analysis and meditation, all these very similar, they have broadly similar, they point to the similar set of processes. Unless you have chosen for yourself to align yourself with a model that has you sailing down a set path, sailing down a set river. For example, which brings us to the religion again, like you may find yourself in accord with a certain kind of religion. Wonderful, practice the religion. Wonderful, off you go, perfect. But if you don't find yourself aligned with a system that has already been designed, well, are you lost? Some would argue yes, some would argue no, and I think you can only argue in terms of lost and found and so on like that. If you're already coming at it with the predicate of predeterministic, predestiny. What's in your destiny? It's whatever I determine it to be. If it's not that, then I don't have to do anything. And maybe I don't. Maybe I don't have to do anything. I've actually tried not doing anything for quite some time. It doesn't work. There has to be effort made by the individual actor, the individual agent, the person, to do a thing. And you don't know what effect that is creating. Think chaos theory. We're here recording this, talking about deep subjects, in a sort of semi-amateur, sort of mildly intelligent kind of way, whimsical way, and we don't know what effects that will have. Are we predetermining someone else's life if they listen and see? I would argue not.
I believe this takes us into a good segue to the next episode, where we can explore frequency, resonation, and the electromagnetism that may come from our series of events and actions.
Brilliant.
To infinity
and beyond.
Toodly-doo.